professional certified IAAP consultant. She is the certification manager of IAAP. Please, Samantha, thanks.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sam Evans. I am a white woman with curly gray hair. I'm wearing glasses. I'm seated, I have a purple sweater on, and behind me is an IAAP banner. But I'm going to shift over and share my screen to display a PowerPoint slide. Um, let's see. Okay, so I believe I've shared my screen now. So my name is Sam Evans, and I'd like to speak with you today to talk a little bit about how IAAP certified professionals are helping shape the future of an accessible future. So um, let's let me enter here. We go. So IAAP offers several certification programs. So professional certifications are overviews of skills and knowledge and are not tied specifically to a course or an educational program. While there may be prep programs, their goal is to express knowledge and information. I'm really excited that today several of our speakers that are going to follow me hold our CPAC, our CPACC credential, and our CPWA. And you've heard from one of our CPWAs just a moment ago on her recorded video message. I see several other credential holders in the audience. So let me give you what these, an overview of what the names are, and then we'll talk about the skills and benefits and knowledge base that each of these credentials bring to helping build an accessible future. Our first certification is the Certified Professional in Accessibility Core Competency. It's displayed on the screen along with 4 other circular icons. They are all blue in the middle circle. It has an IAAP stylized logo where the A's are bridged together as in accessibility around the world. They also have the word certified in the middle. And then each of the circles has the acronym for the credential and then a unique color bar around the outside of the blue badge. So CPAC is our Certified Professional in Accessibility Core Competencies. We pronounce that CPAC. WAS, the Web Accessibility Specialist, is second. CPWA is Certified Professional in Web Accessibility, and that's when someone earns both the CPAC and the WAS. The CPABE is the Certified Professional in Accessible Built Environments, which has 3 levels. And then our newest program, which we're really excited about, is the ADS, the Accessible Document Specialist. So I'm going to leave this slide where I've displayed the 5 badges that are the graphic representations of our certification programs and move forward. So our core foundational certification program is the CPAC, CPACC. On this slide, there's a title of Certified Professional in Accessibility Core Competencies, and then in parentheses, CPACC. The digital badge is on the left. It's the circle, the blue badge for CPAC. And then on the right is some information. This is how CPACs help shape the accessible future with their knowledge. So CPACs hold some really strong understanding of types of disabilities, understanding what disabilities and their attributes are so they can better understand and help shape conversations around removing barriers for people with disabilities. CPACs also have a good understanding of the different theoretical models of disabilities and their strengths and weaknesses. So understanding the models of disability will help people understand how people are approaching disability and accessibility in their concept and design and delivery. CPACs also have really good understanding of the adaptive strategies. How do people with disabilities adapt to the environment that has been built and provided that has barriers built in? So how do we as people with disabilities adapt to the world? What are the assistive technologies that people with disabilities use as an accommodation or their primary source of access to the world? In the accessibility world in the digital space, we know many of them as digital assistive technologies. CPACs also have a really strong understanding of universal design and universal design for learning. So understanding these core concepts help design, helps construct help discussions about how do we approach things, how do we build products, services, tools, and how do we even build our own policies and procedures in our organization. CPACs also have a good understanding of the tenets of web accessibility, understanding POUR from WCAG, not a deep dive, but well enough to speak confidently about the components of digital web accessibility in our world. CPACs also have some good understanding of accessibility laws and regulations around the world, how different countries serve to protect and promote the rights of people with disabilities, and unique components of laws and regulations about unique pieces of accessibility law. All of this works together for people who hold the CPAC because they are able to advise on how to integrate accessibility into an organization, whether that's policies, procedures, or advocacy, or into the workflow themselves. So that's an overview for you about how our CPACs around the world, almost 1,300 CPACs in 49 countries around the world. We're really excited to see that continuing to grow. So the second credential and certification we offer are web accessibility specialists. This slide displays web accessibility specialists, and then in parentheses, WAS across the top. On the right side is the blue WAS WAS digital badge graphic. And then on the left is the text about how WAS candidates help shape an accessible future with their knowledge of primarily creating accessible web solutions. So WAS credential holders understand the key components and structures and semantic of the code underlying, but they have a really strong understanding of WCAG 2.1, including WAI ARIA, ATAG, and both the normative and the non-normative components of web accessibility. Having that context of not the normative data, but how people are impacted, the actual usability is really important. So our WAS credential encourages and requires both the technical knowledge, but also the usability and the human impact. So the next component where WAS people shine is really in identifying accessibility issues in web solutions. So this is accessibility and usability testing with a variety of types of assistive technologies, but also understanding the limitations of automated testing solutions and the value of manual testing in addition to automated testing as best practice. Of course, as AI grows and machine learning grows, that automated testing is going to be a great partner, but it will still need to be married or paired with manual testing to make sure that the usability and the human experience is correct. WAS candidates also have a really great background in understanding how do you remediate issues in web solutions. So they can speak to the level of severity and how you prioritize which challenges need to be solved first and make recommendations for the strategies about how to incorporate accessibility in web accessible apps, products, and services. So CPWA, this slide is for certified professional in web accessibility with the, in parentheses, the letter CPWA. On the left is the digital badge in blue with the silver external ring for CPWA. So our CPWAs are people who have earned both the IAAP CPAC, CPACC, and WAS. So they have the core foundational understanding of accessibility, disabilities, assistive tech, and web accessibility. So they bring a really strong knowledge of these pieces together. They can also talk about integrating intermediate technical web accessibility skills and core competencies with a great understanding of experience and accessibility and usability. And they can help organizations really integrate and create best practices in design for their policy and their technical areas across an organization. So CPAC is awarded, it's not a separate exam. So we just saw, since it was talking a moment ago, the Certified Professional and Accessible Built Environments with the letter CPABE in parentheses at the top of the screen. On the left is the digital badge for CPABE. And this is a program that has 3 levels. And this is for people that work in assessing and analyzing and making recommendations about built environments in the physical space. But in the 21st century, our built environments and our physical spaces integrate a lot of the Internet of Things and smart technologies. So our CPABE, our built environment professionals, are helping shape an accessible future by making sure as they audit built environments, that they include digital components of space and structures. that they have their understanding and applying best practices in universal design, including smart technologies, and implementing accessibility standards, codes, and international legislation for specific space and building purposes, which we're pleased to see are starting to incorporate smart city components and Internet of Things and smart technologies. So they're able to present findings to built environment teams so that they understand the relevance of accessibility, both in the built environment and in the digital space that is part and contributes to our built environment dynamics. Wayfinding was something that was just mentioned, and wayfinding is really important in built environments. And right now, much wayfinding is being integrated into the digital space. So most recently, and I'm proud to have several of our subject matter experts on the call with us today, is the Accessible Document Specialist, or ADS, and that's the letters ADS in parentheses at the top of this slide. On the left-hand side is a circular digital badge that says ADS and has a purple external ring. So our Accessible Document Specialist shape an accessible future by creating accessible documents, both in their authoring formats. So whether that's a word processing document, a spreadsheet, a slide presentation, or desktop publishing tools, but also in remediating documents in a variety of formats, whether that's remediating the original authoring format or in a final format that's been exported to, often in PDF and other platforms. ADS specialist, the Accessible Document Specialist, can audit and test documents for accessibility and for usability, and they understand and explain the limitations of automated document testing and are able to incorporate and explain why, beyond those automated checkers, we do some manual testing and understanding what that means for the usability of somebody who utilizes assistive technologies to engage with documents in the electronic format. ADSs also help establish workflows and best practices for creating and incorporating accessibility best practices in policies and procedures, and also help advise on policy and advocacy within organizations. So it's a really nice way to incorporate accessibility, not just on the technical side of things, but in our marketing communications world for accessibility. So what we're talking about today on this great webinar with so many of our community friends and colleagues is about building an accessible future. So we're really proud to see the work of our IAAP certification holders and all of the accessibility practitioners working to provide guidance, advice, and services to remove barriers and make the world a more accessible place for everyone. IAAP certification holders are also demonstrating a commitment to the accessibility profession. We are actually working in a profession that is complemented by industries as well. So our certificates are advancing the roles and responsibility of accessibility professionals and distinguishing those unique skills and knowledge. So part of what happens with a certification program is that it helps to establish a benchmark or a set level of skills and knowledge and some standards for professionals and practitioners in a field. So we're looking forward to and enjoying seeing business, industry, government, and services recognizing these as a baseline or a standard. We're also increasing awareness and recognition for the accessibility profession in the work we do every day, and highlighting and designating the commitment of organizations to accessibility and inclusion in your ethos, or who and what you are as a company, an organization, or a service provider. So I think we may have a few minutes if there's questions. I'm happy to check chat. That concludes the time that I have. I do a great deal of work just supporting the amazing work of so many people, and I'm so pleased to do good work for good reasons for really good people around the world. And we hope if you're interested in pursuing one of our certifications, you'll reach out to us. We do host certification drop-ins twice a day on Wednesdays. And I'm going to share our final screen. At IAAP, we are united in accessibility. We're building an international community of accessibility professionals. My email is displayed on the screen, certification@accessibilityassociation.org. And our website is accessibilityassociation.org.
Great, thank you very, very much. And some people from Israel have asked me in the chat. So whoever in Israel would like to join and become certified, please contact us. We are, you